subconscious, and a hack that you can use, okay, that will help you get ahead. It will help you manifest your world. Good morning, Jay. It's going to help because it questions your subconscious. Okay, now your subconscious loves puzzles. Okay, your subconscious loves puzzles. So what we're going to do is we're going to give your subconscious a job. Okay, now my brain needs a job. I have ADHD, so my brain always needs a job. So I always give it a job. And that's part of the reason why I've built a family of service companies. It's because I need something to do and I need challenges. And in my mind, like when I was first starting out, right, I thought that one company, one good company, just wasn't going to do it for me because it wasn't enough of a challenge. So I had to build a challenge for myself. So it was a puzzle of sorts, right? So it's like, okay, let's design this thing out and see how well we can do with this. Okay, so your subconscious works that way, in the way that it will answer whatever question you give it. Okay, you can ask your sub, so if you want to find, the truth, or you're trying to discern something, okay, you want to find the truth about something, all you have to do is ask your subconscious and then be patient. Okay, ask your subconscious. So just sit there, close your eyes, and ask the question. Okay, I can show you guys how to do it, but it's very simple. Okay, so close your eyes like this. Okay, and then ask a question. Should I apply for the job at XYZ company? Now be patient. Be patient and wait for the answer. The answer will come. Okay, so your subconscious loves to be questioned because it loves to give answers. So if you want, let's say you want to lose some weight. Let's say you weigh 175 pounds and you want to go down to 170 pounds and you want to lose that 5 pounds. So ask your subconscious, why am I 170 pounds? Okay, now it has to be a positive thing. It can't be a negative thing, because otherwise you're going to get a negative result. So if you say things like, why am I always tired? Your subconscious will look for ways to always keep you tired. That's the way it works, because it becomes a belief. A belief is a thought you keep thinking. Okay, so when you question your subconscious, right? All you have to do is start with why, okay, and then it will answer. Okay, so why do I have $100 extra left over this month? It will look for reasons why. It will give you reasons why. What will that do? That will create the $100 extra that you need at the end of the month. Okay, try it. It works. It works really well. Now, we always talk about affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. Okay, so this is a hack. This is one of them. Okay, but anything you ask your subconscious is obligated to answer. So if you want to find the answer to like anything, good morning, lady. Good morning, Costas. Good morning, Tony. If you want the answer to anything, just go within. The kingdom is within. Okay, that's where God lives. So there's only the conscious, subconscious, superconscious. Okay, so go within and ask the answer. Well, ask the question for the answer. Okay, and you will get the answer. So you ask, okay, and then believing in what you ask, you will receive. But you have to believe it. So you're only going to get in life what you believe. Okay, because when I was a kid, right, I used to do these funny things. I used to talk like cartoons. I used to do all this stuff. And of course, my friends did not think I was normal. But when I got older and then when I got out into the world, I started doing comedy on radio. Those voices came in handy. They came in real handy. Those voices made a lot of money. Not only did I, do voice acting on the radio, but I also used them in commercials. So I animated the commercials, so to speak, with voices and things. But when you're a kid, right, it looks crazy. Okay, and the same thing works for you truthers out there. When you know the truth shall set you free. Okay, and if you want to know the truth, go in here. The truth is in here. You'll find it in there. Don't go looking for the truth out there. Okay. The truth isn't out there. The truth is in here, because you have access to the superconscious in here. You have access to your subconscious in here. If you ask yourself a question right before you go to sleep, your subconscious will work on it all night. If you write an affirmation right before you go to sleep, or when you speak your affirmation, this is why I tell my clients to speak their affirmation out loud at night, right before they go to bed. Because the last thing your subconscious hears is the first thing it remembers, and it will go all night and think about it all night long. It will ponder it all night long. If it's a statement or if it's a question. If it's a statement, it will keep thinking about it all night. Okay, so what I do is I visualize when I'm just ready to fall asleep. I do a visualization. And the things that I want, the things that I'm working on, the projects that I'm working on, whatever I'm working on, I visualize in my head. I see them in my head like they were real. And what happens? My subconscious thinks about it when I'm sleeping. Do I get it when I wake up? Not always, sometimes. Sometimes. It depends on what it is. But your subconscious is very, very powerful. Life is projected from within. Everything happens from within. Okay, yesterday we were talking about, Bible verses and how they're in alignment with the law of attraction principles, which is ask, believe, receive. It's in the Bible. It's in the Bhagavad Gita. It's in all holy books. Because human beings are all designed the same. The magic is in here. In Hawaii, we use the word mana. The Hawaiian word mana, which is kind of like magic. Kind of. It's not, there's no precise English translation. Okay. But the mana is in here. The magic is in here. So every holy book reflects the same thing. It all talks about the kingdom within. Jesus Christ said it. Gautama Buddha said it. Krishna said it. The kingdom is in here. They say it in different ways, but they all point to the kingdom, which is inside, because everything is a projection from inside. You live in a simulation. Everybody has their own simulation. And based upon what you believe or how you believe, your life will be projected for you. Life happens like this. Life doesn't happen like this. If you think life happens like this, then you're suffering from victim mentality. Okay, life happens like this based upon what you believe. And this is why when you have congregations of people, like in a church or in a temple or in a group, or it could be even like a motorcycle gang, whatever. Everybody's believing the same thing. Everybody is in alignment with everybody else. Like-mindedness, like attracts like. Okay, so if you are hanging with a friend group, you guys have things in common. That's why they say, show me 5 of your closest friends and I'll tell you who you are. The law of correspondence, the universal law of correspondence, tells us whatever's going on in here, there's going to be a direct reflection right out here. Okay. The way you dress, the way you present yourself, the way you organize your desk at work or not. Okay. The way you keep your car clean inside and orderly or not. Okay. It's all a reflection of this. If somebody is disorganized in here, they're going to be disorganized out here. And I know you guys always hear me say that, but just use your observational skills and you'll see it. Why is it important to know these things for manifestation? Because it's going to be important for you to change your subconscious beliefs. A lot of people are under the understanding that, oh, you change your paradigm. Paradigm shift, that's a term, right? People use it. Paradigm shift, you shift your paradigm. Well, if you look at the tree, right, the roots of the tree are your subconscious beliefs. Okay, your subconscious now is a culmination of all of your senses, all the data, all the information, and that those form your beliefs. Okay, the trunk of the tree, okay, is your paradigm. That's your attitude. That's the way you see the world, how you feel about the world, based upon what you believe, the roots. Okay, the fruits of the tree are your actions. Those are dictated by your paradigm, which is dictated by your beliefs. So if you're changing your paradigm, okay, might not be permanent. Why? Because you didn't change your beliefs. You didn't change your beliefs about things. When you change your beliefs, guess what's going to happen? You're going to change your attitude. When your attitude changes, you're going to put forth different actions. Those actions have results. And then you will see different results. Why? Because you changed the roots, the subconscious. See? It's not difficult. Okay, now, how long does it take to reprogram a subconscious? Well, for one thing, 66 days. 66 days. Can you write an affirmation for 66 days? I am so happy and grateful now that I'm confident. Thank you. I have my clients write that one first. Why? Because confidence is a chill, relaxed feeling inside. Okay? It's a chill kind of feeling. Confidence is not, confidence is not that alpha male dude in the gym, right? Because he's got that 4'11" Asian girl controlling his life, right? Then it's not very alpha, but we're not judging, we're just saying, okay. But that's not the kind of, when you're big and tough and like that, that's not what confidence is. Inner confidence, inner standing. It's like understanding, but it's inside. Inner standing, very different. Does fear pop up? Yeah, fear pops up all the time. We have fear for a reason. Fear is to warn us. When we're afraid, right, it's for a purpose. What's abnormal is if you are fearing all the time. If you live in fear, if your subconscious has learned to fear, your subconscious can learn anything, right? So your subconscious can learn how to fear, your subconscious can learn how to be brave, your subconscious can learn how to do anything. It's all according to how you program your subconscious. In other words, let's say it a different way. The thoughts you think in repetition that become your beliefs in your subconscious, okay, those are the thoughts you deliberately choose to think. So think about that new car you want. Think about that new relationship you want. Think about that new job you want. Those are positive things. When you focus on things that are not positive, okay, it's called worry. Okay, worry is like praying for something bad to happen. You don't want to worry, okay? Because when you worry, you run into the negative what ifs. What if this happens? What if that happens? What if that happens? What if that happens? What if that happens? And you don't have the answer. So because you don't have the answer, you shift to the next one. What if this happens? Oh, gee, I don't know. Well, what if that happens? Oh, gee, I don't know. Well, what if that happens? Gee, I don't know. You see? And you go from worry to worry to worry. Because you're trying to figure it out. Your subconscious is trying to figure it out. And you're asking your subconscious the question, what if that happens? It's a question. So what I'm showing you how to do today is question your subconscious in the positive. Okay? Why am I 170 pounds? Why am I so healthy? Now your subconscious will give you reasons. It will give you reasons to back it up. What does that do? That empowers the belief in your subconscious because it looks for evidence. Okay, I told you guys a story already. You know, when I was 40 years old, I discovered that I wasn't clumsy. And that's because I casually said it to a girlfriend. And she said, "You're not clumsy. Who told you that?" I said, "Oh, my mom told me that." And then I had to think back to when my mom told me that. And it was probably just one time when she was cleaning house and she didn't want to be bothered. And she said something unkind. So in my book, I have, and this is not about my mom in my book, but it's called The Earth-Shattering Carelessness of Authority. Okay, that I wrote about in my book. It's chapter 5. The Earth-Shattering Carelessness of Authority. Okay, you can get this book on Amazon, but if you're watching today, okay, we're on 7 platforms. Just email me on whatever platform you see this. Okay, or message me or DM me or however. Okay, and I'll give you the PDF copy for free. So you can read my book for free. You don't need to buy it. Okay? And that's my gift for you for watching the live. Okay, but chapter 5 is about the earth-shattering carelessness of authority. Okay, that I know that's a young me. That's when I was younger, when I was doing entertainment. That's my entertainment promo picture. But anyway, the earth-shattering carelessness of authority, okay, is when you hear something from someone that you really respect, or someone you really admire, or someone who's in authority, like your mom, your dad, your teachers in school, your college professors, stuff like that. And maybe they're having a bad day, and maybe they say something, but then you think about it, right? And a belief is a thought you keep thinking. So the more you think about what they said, guess what? The more you believe it. Okay? And when you start to believe it, what happens? You develop a complex. Okay? Then what happens? Well, you believe it, it goes in your subconscious, the roots of the tree. It starts to shape your attitude or the way you see things. That's the trunk of the tree. That translates out into actions, the fruits of the tree. And those actions have results. So if the belief was negative down here in the roots of the tree, and it helped shape the paradigm, which is the trunk of the tree, it's going to translate out into the same types of actions. So if it's a negative belief, it's going to be a negative action up here. If it's a positive belief, it's going to be a positive action up here. If it's negative down here, it's going to be a bad attitude. If it's positive down here, it's going to be a good attitude. So in society, we learn things backwards. Things are taught to us backwards. A lot of things are taught to us backwards and upside down. Okay. But it's done that way for a reason. Okay, there's a lot of control mechanisms in the world, and it's there for a reason. You know, I just met this lady, and she was like very highly religious, right? And you know, she was telling me that Jesus was in heaven. And I said, yes, he is in heaven. And she pointed up there. And I'm like, Jesus is not up there. Jesus is in here. God lives in here. And she goes, oh no, he's coming back. And so I had to ask her, right? I had to ask. I said, do you think he's coming back like through the clouds, literally on a horse to save us? And she said, yeah. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm trying not to make fun of the situation. I'm trying to be respectful, but it's funny. It's funny what people get people to believe. But it starts when you're young, okay? You get indoctrinated when you're young. I have friends that were raised with no religion, you know, and they haven't heard any of this stuff. And it's interesting to get their perspective on things. You know, they believe in some sort of higher power. It just hasn't been ingrained into them. So that's kind of interesting. But you have a subconscious. Now, for people that don't believe in God, right? Like, you know, I had a client that was a psychologist. And ironically, I had to teach him self-confidence. And I thought, you know, to myself, I thought, well, this guy is an expert on the human psyche, you know. But then I had to teach him. My point being that when you are educated, okay, it's a lot different than being knowledgeable. Okay, when you're educated, okay, because you learn things, you know, for a profession or for an application or for a position. Knowledge comes when you get out in the world. Knowledge comes when you do your own research. Knowledge comes when you do your own homework. When you're educated, you do enough, you pass the test, you move on. Okay, you get the degree, you move on. Some people never use their degrees. I know many people have tons of degrees and they don't use it. So, you know, when you start to think of the way that society's been conditioned into many different things, it explains a lot of the violence. It explains a lot of the disagreements. It explains a lot of the divisions. But for people who don't believe in God, there is only the conscious and subconscious. So for our discussions, for people that do believe in God, okay, my position is that God is very real. It's just not like they tell you in church, but God is very real. There's the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious. You are in control of your destiny, but you do have inclinations towards things, natural gifts, natural talent. Okay, you also have the genetic side, which the genetic side will pull you towards whatever is in your family line. I come from a family of teachers. We're all teachers. You know, and then my son became a teacher. He was a drill sergeant in the Army, but that's a teacher. So I saw it go right down the family line. I'm waiting to see what my grandson will be. That will be interesting if he's a teacher of some sort. Okay, so genetically, yeah, you can be pulled into something like that. But the conditioning in our society is real, and it's thick. And it comes from many different places. But the reason why it's a thing is because human beings are very impressionable. Okay, we're very sensitive. Human beings are sensitive. You can pretend you're not sensitive all you want, but you're picking up things. Your subconscious is picking up everything. You're constantly receiving data from your environment, from your friends, from your friend group, from everything you watch, everything you hear, everything you touch, everything. You're accumulating data constantly. And that data begins to form beliefs about things. And those beliefs go in your subconscious. And then your subconscious starts to show you evidence of it, or starts to create pathways towards whatever it is that you believe. The superconscious gives you intuitive thought about it. The superconscious provides you with guidance. Have you ever been driving down the street and you get that feeling that you should turn right, but because you have free will, you dismiss it? You say, "No, it's okay." And you keep driving, and then you get stuck in the traffic jam. What do you say? You go, I knew I should have turned. Right? Because you did know. You did know. Does superconscious have intelligence of its own? Yes, that's God. Superconscious is another term for God, or infinite intelligence. So yes, infinite intelligence has an intelligence of its own. Everything is intelligent. Everything is intelligent. Even the blades of grass are intelligent. Okay? Everything is energy. Animals, plants, everything is energy. Now, what do you call this? Right? Okay? You're not your body. You're not your name. You've been assigned a name. You've been given a name. You've been given a body. You're that energy that lives in here. You want to call it a spirit? Sure, no problem. You want to call it a spirit? That's what it is. There's good spirits, there's evil spirits. I know some evil people. I've worked with them. And I know some really good people too. And I still know the good ones, you know. But whatever you call what's in here, that's what you need to exercise. That energy. And when I say exercise, I mean exercise it, use it. Because that will bring you your blessings. That will bring everything into your world. But you have to be the focus point. Okay, you have to hold time in place and allow everything to be attracted to you. How do you do that? Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization. It doesn't happen any other way. Life happens for you. It doesn't happen to you. Things happen to us. Yeah, things happen to us. But not your life path. Your life path happens for you. It's like it projects out from here. From here, it projects out like that. Your brain doesn't see reality. Your brain projects your reality. It interprets your reality based upon the data it receives. So the human being is a very, very highly intelligent mechanism. It's a huge blessing to be a human being. So yesterday we were talking about how the ask, believe, receive, happens in the Bible, because I have a lot of Christian viewers. But you have to keep in mind that there's esoteric knowledge and there's exoteric knowledge. Exoteric knowledge is what they feed the masses. That's common knowledge. That's the knowledge they give to everybody. Esoteric knowledge is hidden knowledge. That's the knowledge you have to do research for. So you won't get Sunday school knowledge when you study esoteric knowledge. It goes way deeper than that. And there's good news and bad news about it, right? The good news is, yeah, you get the truth. The bad news is you may not be able to handle the truth because the truth isn't special. You know, like Santa Claus, right? Santa Claus. There's the exoteric and there's the esoteric meaning behind the Santa Claus story. Go look it up. I don't want to blow the surprise. Go look it up. Okay. But today we're talking about questioning your subconscious. I would question everything. Because that's when you start to get smart. When you question things, when you question everything. Why? Because when you assume, you may not get the information from people. Always come from I don't know. You know, I know there was a couple of my friends that I don't know, they probably thought I was pretty stupid because I would always ask them, no, I'm sorry, I don't know. What about it? You know, they would ask me, they would make a comment about, oh, have you heard about such and such? I said, no, what about it? And then they would tell me everything, okay? If I pretended that I knew about it, and I'd be like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I knew about that. Like, they probably wouldn't give me all the information, you see? So question everything. It's not wrong to not know. Okay, I had a client that I had to get him over this because he felt stupid every time he went to a meeting. Because I coach business clients, but he, you know, he would go to a meeting and if he didn't have the answer for something, he would feel stupid. I said, no, it's not about not having the answer. It's about having the right questions, right? Because you want to get the information. But when you question your subconscious, guess what it does? It works through the superconscious. It works through divine sources, whatever you consider divine, whoever you believe in, whatever you believe is your higher power, higher self, infinite intelligence, all of that. So the job of the conscious mind is to make a commitment, to select something, a topic. It feeds it to your subconscious. When it feeds it to your subconscious with emotion, okay, that means it goes in strong. Now it gets sent to your subconscious. Now when you keep thinking about it, it becomes a belief. It doesn't take long for a human being to believe something. Not very long at all. But when the conscious mind keeps thinking of the same thing, and it has made a determination that, okay, we're gonna think about new car, then it feeds new car to the subconscious. Pretty soon the subconscious believes that that's what it's working on. Okay, I'm working on a new car. Now the subconscious will come up with all kinds of ways that you could get a new car. You could save money. You could borrow money. You could get an extra job, a side hustle, whatever it is. And all of these ideas or all of these avenues come from the subconscious. Now the superconscious is the one that works through the right hemisphere of the brain. So that's your imagination, that's your intuitive thought, your intuition. Okay, that's where your ideas come from, that's where your creativity comes from. Okay, Jesus sits at the right hand of the Father, not the left, at the right. This lady that joins us, Sahara, she joins us on Facebook. and she joined us a little bit late yesterday. I had made a quote about Gautama Buddha. She said, "You always talk about Christianity. I'm Buddhist." I speak on what I'm familiar with. I'm not that familiar with Buddhism, but there's a few things that I have heard of it, that I have, or that I do subscribe to. So I embrace all cultures. I embrace all belief systems. I actually have a Quran that I read once in a while. It's a small paperback version. Excuse me. And I have apps. I have apps for the Torah. I have apps for the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so it's nice to see that when you look at things across different platforms, you see that, wow, these things all have one thing in common. They all talk about the kingdom in here, the kingdom being in here, not out there. The last thing you want to do is take your faith and put your faith in something outside yourself. That's not where your faith should be. Your faith should be inside yourself. And this is why you cannot believe in God and not believe in yourself at the same time. Either that, or you haven't heard that the kingdom is in here. If you say you believe in God, then you have to believe in yourself, because God lives in here. Life happens for you. It doesn't happen to you. My administrative assistant is kind of amazed with some of the things I do, because I write these things and then they happen. I write these things, I speak it, it happens. It's happened over and over and over and over and over. I've been doing this for years and years and years. It's how everything happened in my life since 2007. People that know me since 2007 have seen me do some pretty amazing things. But I guess they didn't know how I was doing it. I didn't know how to do it either. The how is God's job. You have to let God do the hows. The how and the when is God's job. All you need to know is the what and the why. That's all. But when you ask your subconscious questions, it has to answer you. If you're getting different answers, then you haven't cleared this one yet. Okay, so you got to clear this one first. You cannot be cluttered in here and expect to get the right answer, okay? But you question your subconscious and you will get the answer. If you don't get the same answer, just be patient. Wait for it to come around again, because it will start to repeat, because the subconscious learns in repetition. The subconscious repeats. So the repetitive answer that keeps coming back is the answer. It's really good when you ask your subconscious a question right before you go to sleep, because then it works on it all night. And you wake up with the answer. It's amazing how that works. That has made me a lot of money. It's amazing how it works. See, I always think that there's two people, the way I see it. There's two different kinds of people in the world. Okay? There's one person that, finds the answers, finds the success route, right? Climbs the ladder. It's an imaginary ladder, but yeah, climbs the ladder. And then kicks the ladder out from under him and takes the secrets to the grave. The second kind of individual climbs the ladder, finds the way, and then reaches down the ladder for somebody else and go, come on, I know the way, let's go over here, like this. Always try to be that person, because that makes humanity better. That makes our society better. if you're only in it for you, it's very limited. Okay. Have you ever seen a selfish person flourish? They get for a little while, right? They get for a little bit, and then what? And then something happens and boom, gone. And then they get for a little bit and then gone. Okay. There's two ways to wealth. Two ways. I'm not talking about being rich. I'm talking about being wealthy. I'm talking about abundance. I'm not talking about being rich. I know a lot of rich people, they're empty. Okay? I know a lot of rich people that are empty. And I know a lot of rich people that are very humble and very full and very wealthy. But wealth has to do, okay, not with your material possessions, but your mindset. When you talk about a wealth mindset, you're talking about a healthy mindset. You're talking about a mindset that flourishes. You're talking about a mindset that's adaptable to different situations, that works with different situations. If you don't have a wealthy mindset, guess what happens? When you switch gears, or you switch things, or you switch venues, or you switch genres, it takes time to adjust. It doesn't work well. Okay? When you have a wealth mindset, a wealthy mindset, you can switch from thing to thing to thing to thing. And everything will work. Why? Because your mindset is in abundance, not lack. In other words, you don't want. You don't need. You don't need. You're not needy. Okay? You don't want. You just get. There's a big difference. You know, like they say, right? God knows when you need something. Okay, the superconscious knows when you need something. The superconscious knows when you need money, when you need to get well, when you need to recover from getting cut or burned or whatever, when you need to heal. The superconscious knows. This is why the Christians have an expression. They say, give it to God. If you can't handle it, give it to God. Let God handle it. What are they really talking about? They're talking about the superconscious. Okay, one of my clients, this guy was a psychologist. He didn't believe in God. It was very difficult to work with him, because I always had to remind myself to leave God out of it. Right? But I'm a firm believer in God. Because when I pray, it happens. When I meditate, it gets revealed. I get the answers. What happens then? I just think about something and it shows up. I just think about it. So you make the intention and then you release it. It's in the Bible, it's in the Bhagavad Gita, it's in the Torah, it's in the Quran. Right? You make the intention and you forget about it. And then guess what? It shows up on the journey. It shows up on the journey and you go, wow, right? And this is why you focus on the journey. Always focus on the journey. Thank you, Costas. Thank you, lady. This is why you focus on the journey, so that you get surprised. So that life is full of surprises. Pleasant surprises, good surprises, not bad surprises. So what are you expecting? If you expect good, you're gonna get good. If you expect bad, well, you're living in fear, right? You're living in fear, worry. Okay, worry belongs to fear. If you're worrying, that's like praying for something bad to happen. But if you're thinking if you're expecting something to go wrong, right? Murphy's third law, Because you believe it. Because it's part of your mindset. Because you go, oh, well, this is good now, so probably something's just about to go wrong. And guess what? It goes wrong, right? And you go, I knew it was gonna go wrong, right? Of course, because you believe it. Now, if you expect good stuff, right? If you expect the very best of things, then even if it happens a little bit negative, it's not going to be as bad. It's going to be slight. It's not going to be as severe. Because some things are out of your control. Right? Sometimes it's somebody else that's involved in the picture or in the situation. But then it's not as bad. So always expect the very best. Always give the very best. Always do the very best. And we don't always do the very best. I don't always do the very best. I get complacent sometimes. But you know what? When your awareness begins to shift and begins to increase, you know exactly when you're not doing good. I know exactly when I'm not doing my full potential. And I change it. I switch gears. And when you do that, it'll clear up a lot of stuff. If you want to make something, if something is kind of leaning to the negative side, right? All you need to do is apply more love to the situation. I'm not talking about Valentine's Day love. I'm talking about love. Okay? I'm talking about good things, good intentions. You apply love to the situation. So, what are the principles of love? Kindness, humility, compassion, understanding, forgiveness. Okay, that's all love. That's all in the love category. And sometimes when you forgive, right, it's not so much you're forgiving the other person. You're cutting the energetic ties between you and that person. You're letting yourself off the hook. Forgiveness is for you so you can move on. Why? So you don't have resentment. Because if you don't forgive, right, there's that little resentment. Resentment is like a negative undercurrent, okay, that originated in anger. And it's like a small little dose of anger under the surface. That's what resentment is. Right? Resentment is like a dog going, that's resentment. Okay? I'm just trying to be funny, but yeah, you don't want to be resentful, because that means there's a small little negative undercurrent in your life. And what will that do? That'll make things go wrong. It'll put you in a bad mood faster. What will a bad mood do? It will attract bad things. Okay? Happiness and wealth are choices. They're not circumstances. You have to choose happiness. You have to choose wealth. You have to choose a wealth mindset. It's something you choose. It's not something you get to. You hear people say, well, I'll be happy when I have my new house. Well, I'll be happy when I have my new car. Or I'll be happy when I have my new job. I'll be happy when I get married. Happiness is not like that. It doesn't work like that. You have to be happy first. Happiness is a choice. Happiness is saying, this is how I want to be. And then you go get into a relationship. Now you're bringing something to the table. Why? Because you're happy first. You have that energy, that good vibe, those good vibes, that good energy. Now you bring that to the relationship. If you're empty, not happy, okay? Another word for not happy, another term for not happy. If you're empty and you go into a relationship thinking that the relationship will fill you up, you're going to be looking for another relationship. You have to fill yourself up first. Okay, you see those people, they go from person to person to person, right? Inside, they're looking for something. A serial monogamist is somebody who has to be married, right? They got to be married, right? So they marry the first girl. Okay, it works. It works with guys too, but they marry the first girl, right? But because they didn't change their subconscious, their beliefs in their subconscious, when they get a divorce, they meet the next girl, right? They're doing the same actions, right, with a different girl, and then they get divorced over there, and then there's the new girl. Then the same repetition happens over here from the subconscious. Why? Because nothing changed in the subconscious. Now I'm doing it with the third girl. Okay? Guess what happens? Divorce. Who was the common denominator? That guy. It doesn't matter who the girl is. Those self-destructive tendencies, those negative programs in your subconscious, negative beliefs in your subconscious will play out the same way with different people. The right girl won't fix it. It's not about the right girl. It's about changing you, because when you change this one, everything out here reacts to everything in here. All you got to do is change this one. You get a divorce, okay, that didn't work. All right. Right? First thing is acceptance. Okay, I accept that. Yeah, my bad. I learned the lesson. Now when you learn the lesson, fix the program, right? So maybe you didn't give enough attention. So write your affirmation. I am so happy and grateful now that I am paying more attention to people in my life. Thank you. There you go. Write it for 66 days. It'll be a habit. Speak it out loud every night before you go to sleep. Your subconscious will work on it overnight. Is it difficult to do? No. But not everybody wants to take the 10 or 15 seconds it takes to write out the sentence. The second divorce will cost you more. The third divorce will cost you even more. Because now when you add up the 3 divorces and the amount of money you lost, the amount of property you lost, the amount of dignity you lost, yeah, it's a lot. So save money. Reprogram your subconscious. Okay, install new beliefs. You know the old saying, like, you can't teach an old dog new tricks? Yeah, you can. That's a wives' tale. That's not true. I had an 84-year-old lady as one of my clients, and she changed her life. She changed her life. We started working with her voice first. Where the body goes, the mind follows. Change the body, the mind starts changing. It works the other way around too. Where the mind goes, the body follows. You can do that too, that way too. That works too. But the subconscious is very important. Okay, your subconscious is the one that drives the car in the morning. You don't learn to drive the car every morning. Your subconscious is the one that brushes your teeth every morning. It's all committed. It's committed to memory. You drive to work the same way, right? Monday to Friday. Saturday, you want to go to the store. About 5 minutes into the drive, you catch yourself driving to work. Who's driving the car? Your subconscious. Your subconscious is driving the car. It happens to me all the time. If I'm not consciously aware of where I'm going, my subconscious will take me wherever. Like I'll be going somewhere and I go, wow, okay, I think I'm going to Foodland, or I think I'm going to shopping center, or I think I'm going to wherever, right? So the conscious mind is the one that makes the decisions The subconscious stores the programs. So if you look at it like a computer, okay, your conscious mind is your operating system. Subconscious is your storage. Okay, that's where the programs are stored, your hard drive. Okay. The superconscious is the network that we're all plugged into. What do we all have in common? The energy that lives in here. That's how we're all the same. We're different, but we have that in common. I have my energy in here, you have yours in there. My energy tells my fingers to move, to do this, to do whatever I want it to do. I can make it do whatever's, right? See? I can pick things up. My legs take me for a walk. I tell it where to go. It takes me where I want to go. But I'm not my body. I'm the intelligence in my body. I'm the energy in my body. I'm the spirit in my body. You're the spirit in your body too. Some people are just unaware. Some people don't know. Some people just think that, okay, this is it. I'm just a meat suit walking around on the planet. Thank you, Jay. I'm just a meat suit walking around on the planet. Nothing special about me. No, 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 no. God made everybody special. Everybody has their own unique gifts, their own unique talents, their own unique way of thinking, and their own subconscious. And you have control. You have control. If you don't control yourself, somebody else will. Okay? So take control of your subconscious. Teach your subconscious. The subconscious learns in repetition. Whatever you do over and over and over again. Okay? So if you do something good, right, do it over and over again. Okay? Generosity, kindness, compassion, love, respect. Okay? When you do those things over and over again, guess what? You become loving. You become respectful. You become kind. You become generous. And what does that do? That brings blessings. All kinds of blessings. All kinds of good stuff. Okay? Blessings, good things. You don't have to believe in God. Whether you believe in God or you don't believe in God, either way, you're a believer. Might as well believe the good stuff. Okay. Costas, thank you. Lady, thank you. Have a great day, you guys. We're on 7 platforms every morning. It's 8 o'clock. Time for me to go. But yeah, we'd like